Assalamualaikum. So today I would like to present about my final year project, which is forecasting of Malaysia's tourist arrivals. Hi, my name is Norarina Kalesa Banti Saidin and my metric number is 264958. So what is tourism? According to J.K. Walton, tourism is the act and practice of spending some time away from home in search of entertainment, relaxation, and enjoyment while using commercial services. There are a few factors that influence tourist expectation visit on specific locations, such as destination's culture, architecture, cuisine, geography, and so on. International tourism has grown to be one of the most significant economies globally. It is the vanguard of globalization, consumer preferences, cultural norms, merchants, and money to new locations throughout the globe. Tourist arrivals revenue has become a significant source of revenue for the economy, employment, taxes, income, and foreign currency profits. Malaysia is one of the most popular tourist destinations. It is because it is a home to some of the world's most intriguing tourist spots. It also a diverse country with several Malaysia vacation packages to choose from. Malaysia also nominated as the 9th country in the world for the tourist arrivals, and also rated 25th overall and 6th in Asia out of 141 nations. Tourism industries can be more resistant and resilient from any crisis. The notion of resilience has become a prominent goal in many tourist initiatives. Tourist arrivals in Malaysia increased by 4.9%, that is 13.4 million in the first half of 2019, compared with 12.7 million in the same month in 2018, due to the increase to the air connectivity, as well as ongoing marketing with important partners and decision makers. On 25th January 2020, Malaysia had been shocked by the breaking news of the coronavirus 2019, also known as COVID-19. The government has enacted a Movement Control Order (MCO) to prevent the disease from spreading further. As a result, Visit Malaysia 2020 as the main event of the year had to be cancelled. Therefore, the number of the tourists had a huge drop due to event's cancellations. As you can see from the diagram, due to the cancellation, Malaysia's number of foreign tourists is decreasing by 83.4% in 2020, since the country only had 4.3 million visitors last year, down from 26.1 million in 2019. This is the monthly data for tourist arrivals from January 2019 until December 2020. As you can see, in the 2019, there has been ups and downs in numbers of tourist arrivals. However, in January 2020, the starting of COVID-19, you can see the number is keep on decreasing until December 2020. As well as when the number of tourist arrivals decrease, the number of tourist visits also will be decreased. Therefore, Malaysia's tourist visit fell by 85.3% from 86.14 billion in 2019 down to 12.69 billion in 2020. So my problem statement for this study is the tourism industry of Malaysia has a big responsibility to plan for a better growth and development to maintain the industry's sustainability for the future. If the COVID-19 happens again, it is crucial to analyze the pattern of tourist arrivals before, during, and after the pandemic. Therefore, forecasting monthly tourist arrivals is a need, as it can ease the organization to plan a better event in the future to attract more tourists and to make sure the tourism industry of Malaysia is well constructed. So my research questions for this study are: what is the number of tourist arrivals pattern before, during, and after the COVID-19? What is the best model to forecast the number of tourist arrivals? And when will the number of tourist arrivals rebound? So for my research objectives for this study are to identify the number of tourist arrivals pattern before, during, and after the COVID-19, to choose the best model to forecast the number of tourist arrivals, and to forecast when will the number of tourist arrivals will rebound. Next is the significance of the study. Forecast of the future number of tourist arrivals will decide the number of tourists that will come to Malaysia. For any purposes, an organization can organize a few events that will attract tourist attention. Besides that, it's also important to the students who took the forecasting methods as they can apply it in their daily life. Next is the scope of the study. This study will be more focused on forecasting the number of tourist arrivals. The data that will be used is obtained from the MyTourism data, and the short-term number of tourist arrivals forecasting is chosen for planning and scheduling that will benefit the tourism industry of Malaysia. Next is the literature review on COVID-19 impact on tourist arrivals. Compared to 2019, the number of international visitors visiting the world in 2020 has been decreased by 58.6% on average. Therefore, $320 billion is lost for the world tourist receipts from January until May 2020, compared with the same period in 2019, with 3% loss in the whole year of 2009 due to the global crisis. Europe had the second largest drop in arrivals, with a 58% drop, followed by the Middle East 51%, and the Americas and Africa both in 47%. Tourism revenue in Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and other countries plummeted by 100% year-over-year in the second quarter of 2020, while in Japan, the number of tourists increases up to 93% in March 2020. According to the Japan Tourism Agency, JTA, incoming visitor consumption declined by 41.6% from the same time last year in 2019. Next is the tourist arrivals forecasting techniques. Autoregressive integrated moving average, or ARIMA module, which is stated based on the conventional box matrix technique, a well-known modeling approach in the predicting demand. With monthly and quarterly time series, the ARIMA model has been proved to be reliable in modeling and tourism demand forecasts. For an example, Coachella has been used as a elevated time series strategy that incorporated the ARIMA and smoothing models to anticipate the market for the international tourism in the United Kingdom. Based on other research by Chicken, the various forecasting strategies such as the ARIMA forecasting approach, the naive approach, the basic exponential smoothing approach, the whole linear approach, the whole winter trend, and the seasonal approach are examined for forecasting the number of tourists in Malaysia. According to Lim and McLaren, they use the exponential smoothing method to forecast quarterly international tourist arrivals to Australia. Exponential smoothing has also been employed as a basic adaptive prediction approach. Lastly, research by Rafida, a seasonal autoregressive integrated moving average, or we call SARIMA, is a better model for non-seasonal and seasonal time series forecasting than the other competing time series models. It is because seasonality is reflected in tourist demand. The SARIMA model, on the other hand, reveals that it is the best at projecting international visitor arrivals in India. Next is the methodology. For the data collection, the secondary data will be obtained from the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture from MyTourism data. The monthly data was collected for the total of 37 months, from January 2019 to March 2021. This method is being used to anticipate the number of tourists arriving in Malaysia from April 2021 to December 2024, because, based on the prediction by World Tourism Organization, the international tourism will be returned to pre-pandemic 2019 levels in Asia country in 2024. Next is the process of identifying of time series. In the time series, there are four main components. First, trend component. It defines all economic and commercial activity, overall upward or downward motions. It also allows the modeler to foresee by projecting a historical trends and patterns into the future. Next is the cyclical component. The rises and falls of a series over an indefinite length of time, generally around a long-run trend as depicted by the linear trend line. Next is the seasonal component. Regular fluctuations occurring within a given period of time, such as a day, a week, a month, a year, and so on. These fluctuations recur in the following periods with the same regulatory pattern. Lastly is the irregular component. The latter is aptly referred to as a random mistakes. The discrepancy between the actual observation and the underlying pattern is characterized as a random error. Next is the forecasting model. So for this study, I'll be using three forecasting models, which are double exponential smoothing, hooked window trend, and ARIMA modeling. Why I chose these three forecasting models for my study? It is because, based on my research, these three models are commonly used for forecasting tourism demand. Besides that, since my study is about forecasting of Malaysian tourist arrivals, and it involves a trend and seasonal, I think these three forecasting model is suited for my study. So first of my forecasting model is double exponential smoothing. It is an expansion of exponential smoothing that explicitly supports univariate time series trends. The approach is compatible with trends that evolve in two ways, additive and multiplicative, depending on whether the trend is linear or exponential. Next is the Hobbes-Winter trend, a method for modeling and predicting the behavior of a time series of data and method for calculating the average value, the slope across the time, and the cyclical repeating pattern of the time series. And lastly is the ARIMA model. ARIMA refers to a model that combines autoregressive, integrated, and moving average model. ARIMA also are popular applications of a time series analysis, forecasting, and control. Next is the validation of measurement. There are four error measurements that will be used for the study, which are: first is the mean absolute deviation, MAD. It is the average distance between each data point and the mean. It also gives us an idea about the variability in the data set. Next is the mean square error, MSE. Squaring is required to eliminate any negative signals. It also gives a significant discrepancy greater weight. The better the forecast, the lower the MSE. Next is the mean absolute percentage error, MAPE. It also determined as the average absolute percent error for each time period minus actual values divided by the real values, and it is expressed as a percentage. Lastly is the mean percentage error, MPE. It calculates the average of percentage errors between a model's projections and the actual value of the quantity being forecasted. Lastly is the expected findings. At the end of the study, it is expected that the findings illustrate the actual pattern of tourist arrivals during COVID-19. The research will gain the best forecasting model to apply in decision making for the tourism industry. That's all from me. Thank you.